The Wall Street Journal published an op-ed suggesting that Dr. Jill Biden stop using the title doctor because she has a PhD and is not a medical doctor, though she has at times functioned as a nurse.
The holiday.
A zookeeper in Denmark reported that a gay penguin couple abducted a baby penguin while his parents were swimming. This according to an email from my grandma titled, "Forward, forward, forward, what Obama did." A popular new hashtag among teenagers is simp, which describes boys who are overly nice to girls they like. As in, only a simp would flee a disaster just because his wife wanted to go to Cancun. Okay, that's awesome. A man in New York State was trapped inside his car for 10 hours overnight when a plow covered his car in 4 feet of snow. Even more amazing, his wife believed that story. Residents of an apartment building in Scotland left a note in the elevator asking a resident who has extremely loud orgasms to be quieter. And it's understandable because this is what a Scottish orgasm sounds like. A woman in Atlanta gave birth to her baby in a McDonald's, so caution, wet floor. A 25-year-old from Florida will become the first Gen Z member of Congress. Younger, said Matt Gaetz. A new law has been passed in California requiring companies to have more diversity in their board of directors, which is how I forced my way onto the board of BET. BET. There's going to be some changes around here. Firefighters in Florida rescued a horse that fell into a septic tank and was nearly submerged in raw sewage. A horse submerged in raw sewage is also known as an Arby's beef and cheddar.
Arby's, we eat the horse.
Well, it was shaping up to be a good week for Joe Biden. He got Brittany Griner back, he kept marriage gay, and he's only got 14 more sleeps until Santa. Southwest Airlines has changed their policy for emotional support animals and will now only allow cats and dogs on board, while over at Spirit, everyone's given a snake. A woman in Delaware won $400,000 after hitting back-to-back lottos in the same day. But the woman says she's still going to keep her day job, forging lottery tickets. Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, began erupting for the first time since 1984. Also erupting for the first time since 1984, your aunt watching Yellowstone. Officials at the Barcelona Zoo revealed that 4 lions at the facility tested positive for coronavirus. Even more shocking, it's because they attended a Hasidic wedding. Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway. Pepsi announced a new Peeps flavored soda for Easter. It's perfect for Easter because it will make your digestive system say, Jesus Christ. I don't know if you guys saw it today. Morocco beat Portugal in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It is, it's the best World Cup performance by a team of Africans since the unpaid workers who built the stadiums. I didn't do it. Chris Christie's niece was arrested on a Spirit Airlines flight to Newark after she accused a Latino family of smuggling cocaine, then injured multiple officers by biting them and kicking them in the groin. She has been sentenced to life in the New Jersey Hall of Fame. This is worse. A new Halloween costume being sold this year is for sexy hand sanitizer, which I think is just lube. Insiders are saying that producers for the Broadway hit Hamilton are planning to reopen the show on July 4th, hopefully with some goddamn white actors this time. According to a new report, 2020 was one of the deadliest years for shark attacks, with 10 reported fatalities. Adorable, said bats. Ohio police arrested a woman who allegedly stabbed her boyfriend for eating all of their salsa. Though you'd be angry too if your boyfriend was jalapeno business. Cambridge University in England's released a new calendar featuring student athletes naked. Unfortunately, they're all from the Quidditch team.
It's nice.
8 police officers in Argentina were fired after more than a ton of marijuana disappeared from a warehouse, and they claimed it was eaten by mice. For reference, this is what a mouse who ate 1 ton of marijuana would look like. The CDC is warning about a salmonella outbreak that's linked to bird feeders. Yet another piece of bad news for people who eat out of bird feeders. This week there was a full moon known as the beaver moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good one.
The house where Lizzie Borden murdered her parents has been sold for $2 million and will be turned into a bed and breakfast. Though a bed and breakfast where a murder happened is pretty much just a day's inn. Sizzler restaurants have announced that as a result of the impact from COVID, they are filing for bankruptcy, which is probably a good idea since the Sizzler buffet is the closest thing America has to a Wuhan wet market. The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to Mpox due to concerns that the original could be considered racist, which I didn't even really think was an issue, but now I'm just wondering, what's the N in N95? A 10-year-old boy in Florida faces misdemeanor battery charges after he allegedly touched a teacher's breast, because under Florida law, students are required to wait for their teacher to make the first move. The U.S. Air Force is denying that its pilots intentionally flew a flight path that created a giant penis pointed at Russia. Even worse, they then fired missiles. During the Golden Globes this Sunday, a new commercial will air that will be the first to ever show lactating breasts on television. Unfortunately, those breasts belong to the green M&M. WNBA star Brittany Griner was freed from prison in exchange for Russian arms dealer Victor Bout. It's actually a great trade because Bout was only averaging 5 points and 2 rebounds a game. Today was the SantaCon bar crawl in New York City. Yeah, the annual reminder that while Santa may exist, God doesn't. It's getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized. A new poll shows that 75% of LGBTQ voters support Joe Biden, but 0% of them support Joe Biden guessing what the B, T, and Q stand for. A Pennsylvania college student has made a fully functional Batman costume that can withstand punches, machetes, and baseball bats. He's just like the real Batman, except his parents only wish they were dead. Catholic leaders issued new pandemic guidelines for Ash Wednesday, discouraging priests from wiping ashes directly off people's foreheads. And I think no touching could just be a great new rule in general. This is fun. A Canadian woman was fined more than $25,000 for illegally importing bull semen. Meanwhile, in the U.S., bull semen is sold legally under the name White Claw. The creator of the Home Shopping Network died this week at the age of 79, or just 4 easy installments of $19.99. Delta Airlines, which is based in Atlanta, publicly criticized Georgia's new restrictive voting laws. And you know you messed up when Delta is like, hey, you got to treat people with respect. At the end of the day, Florida may not give us FDR or JFK, but it will definitely give us HPV. Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon. Or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans went wild in streets of New York. The Los Angeles Zoo announced that Evelyn, a 46-year-old gorilla famous for her red hair, has been euthanized. Not because she was sick, but because it's LA and she was in her 40s. Officials in Georgia say that more than 50 children may have been exposed to coronavirus by a mall Santa, which is the second worst thing a mall Santa can expose children to. It was reported that Buckingham Palace staff have been mocking Prince Andrew with a nursery rhyme. Said Prince Andrew, "Ooh, nursery." Researchers have discovered a piece of 20-million-year-old petrified wood on the Greek island of Lesbos. They knew it was from Lesbos because it's double-ended.
Oh.
According to new research, men with deeper voices are more likely to cheat on their partners. But you can't believe scientists, baby.
Is that voice blackface?
The world's deepest swimming pool has opened in Poland. Even more amazing, it's above ground. It was announced that North Korea has banned its citizens from having mullets or wearing skinny jeans, in yet another attempt to cancel Morgan Wallen. Pfizer also said that its COVID vaccine is safe and effective for teens aged 12 to 15. Well, that's a relief, said Matt Gaetz. Bannon addressed his supporters in a live stream on Getter, a social media platform popular with Trump allies. Getter is named after what its users say whenever they see a woman walking alone. A woman in Taiwan who thought her boyfriend was cheating cut off his penis and flushed it down the toilet. I'm sorry, thought he was cheating? It was reported that a 117-year-old nun in France has survived coronavirus, and she's actually starting to get insulted that God doesn't want to meet her. Bud Light is releasing a carbonated eggnog-flavored drink called Seltzer Nog. If you want a preview of the taste, throw up in your mouth. I don't know if you saw this. Yesterday, a large section of California's famed Highway 1 collapsed into the ocean. And I hate to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I think it was Jewish space lasers. Questions are being raised about Vladimir Putin's health after he fell down the stairs at his home and soiled himself. Questions like, is there a video? Doctors say that a woman has given birth to a baby that came from an embryo frozen 27 years ago. Said the baby, "You picked this year?" During oral arguments in the case, Justice Samuel Alito raised the hypothetical, could a black department store Santa be forced to take a picture with a child dressed in a Klan robe? Alito added that he'd love an answer before he takes his grandkids to the mall next week. Half $500 million was spent in California on campaigns aimed at legalizing sports gambling online, but failed by a wide margin, said supporters of the bill. Okay, double or nothing. A restaurant in San Francisco is selling a fried chicken sandwich that includes the chicken's claw. Not to be outdone, KFC just announced the new beaks-only bucket. It was reported that after Morgan Wallen lost his recording contract when he was caught on video using the N-word, sales for his albums rose over 1,000%, proving my long-held theory that if NBC would just let me say it, the ratings will go up. Dick's Sporting Goods is opening a new experiential store with a rock climbing wall, sports fields, and an indoor wellness space. Unfortunately, they're calling it Hands-on Dick's.
A British woman has created a customized life jacket that allows a disabled goldfish to swim. The woman came up with the idea while not having plans on Valentine's Day.
Officials have posthumously stripped Medina Spirit of his Kentucky Derby victory for failing a post-race drug test. And I just want to say to Medina Spirit, I hope it's hot and horse hell, you cheating bastard. For O.J. Simpson's first meal after being released from prison, he had 2 double Quarter Pounder meals from McDonald's, which explains the new slogan for Burger King.
Burger King. O.J. eats at McDonald's.
Sesame Street has introduced 2 new black Muppets to help explain racial difference to children, which begs the question, are these Muppets white? NBC said that it would not air the qualifying trials for the Olympic curling team because of an ad on the ice for a Dutch sex toy. Oh, so that's what that thing is. Researchers say that a system on the International Space Station that turns astronaut urine into drinking water could be used to provide clean water on Earth, which is the kind of amazing innovation that makes me think, wait, then what are astronaut brownies made of? Startup airline Boom Supersonic is hoping to eventually fly passengers anywhere in the world in 4 hours or less for just $100. So get ready to fly fast and cheap on the only airline named after the sound of an explosion. Garth Brooks claims that he has lost all of the new material for an upcoming album after his phone containing the songs died. Or more likely, killed itself. It was announced that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West have reached a settlement in their divorce, and I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that she maybe had an easier time finding a good lawyer. Mattel is releasing a Helen Keller Barbie doll. Just remember not to let her drive the Barbie Corvette. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, seen here calmly watching a school bus stall on some railroad tracks, received the coronavirus vaccine on Friday. And just to throw it in our faces, he's also giving himself a stimulus check and a small business loan. Coca-Cola has introduced a new line of coffee Cokes that they say sips like a Coke, finishes like a coffee, and feels like someone tasered your butthole. German researchers have recorded the shortest interval of time for an event to begin and end. The event finished so quickly, scientists have named it Che.